Hello, this is Shawn Woodell from Heavenly Soaps and Such. Today I'm going to be making some homemade granola cereal, and I usually make this about every 6 months. It depends on how large of a batch I make, but I make it about every 6 months. Good morning, this is Shawn Woodell from Heavenly Soaps and Such. Today I'm going to be making some homemade granola cereal. If you would please watch the ads, it helps me out, and give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. I'm enjoying reading all of the comments that people leave, and I really appreciate interacting with each and every one of you. So let's get started. So I'm going to make this. I usually make this in my dehydrator, and I've decided that I'm going to do it in my crock pot. So I have a pretty good sized crock pot. Depends on how large of a batch you're making. This is probably a 5 or 6 quart, probably a 5 quart crock pot, and I have sprayed it with some avocado oil, so the stuff won't, the granola won't stick in there. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my oats, or my oatmeal. My rolled oats, I should say. This is the kind that I use here, organic old-fashioned rolled oats, and these are whole grain, and so they're 100% whole grain. So this is the kind I use, but you can use any kind that you choose. I'm going to put six cups in here. Here's 2, and I did not measure these out ahead of time except for the 2, and it's not an exact, so it doesn't have to be exactly 2, 4. And see, it's a little more, that's fine. 6. Okay? Alright, so I have 6 there. And I think I'm going to do 8. Okay? Alright, 8. Have 8 of that. I'm going to go ahead and I added in a half of a cup. I'm adding a half a cup of walnuts. They're lightly chopped in little pieces. It's up to you what you put in. You kind of can put in whatever you like. Pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, walnuts, peanuts, raisins. This here is a half of a cup of peanuts. I'm going to put those in. This is a half a cup of ground almonds. So I just took the almonds. I was trying to chop them up some, and I chopped them up too much, but it works fine because they'll mix right in, and it won't be a big deal. But half a cup of ground almonds, or you could do a half a cup of regular almonds. This is a fourth a cup of flaxseed, and I ground those in. I'm going to add raisins. This is probably about a cup. It's more than a cup really, but I had a little bit left over. I wasn't going to use part of them and leave a handful of them, so I have more than that, but I'll wait and see how much of these I put in at the end. I'm going to add in a 1/4 cup of pink Himalayan sea salt. And I don't put that in there, sorry. I'm going to, like I said, add the raisins later. Now, that's ready. It's still off. I'm not doing anything to that. Now I'm going to bring you over to the stove. Okay, so now over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up a couple items that are going to go into it. I have a half of a cup of peanut butter. I'm going to get that out, and it's up to you what kind of peanut butter you use. Freshly ground peanut butter is really, really good now, but you don't have to use that. And I'm going to get it all out. Kind of there. Okay, so that's a half of a cup. Now I have a 1/3 of a cup of organic coconut oil. Put that in. And this is the one that smells like coconut. And you can use butter in the place of this if you like organic butter, or any kind of butter. I use organic, but you can, ooh, there's a fruit fly. You can use butter if you like though. Okay? Now I'm going to put in a half of a teaspoon. Actually, it's 1 teaspoon. Put in 1 teaspoon of organic Ceylon cinnamon. That. I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of Simply Organic Pure Vanilla. Okay. And I'm also going to add in some honey, but I'm not going to do that right away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on, and I don't want to really cook it. I just want to just heat it enough that it melts. It starts to melt. Okay, so you don't really want to cook it or boil it or anything. You just want to get it to the point that it's nice and soft. And like I said, I will add the honey in right at the end because I really don't want that honey to heat up too much. Even though it is going to heat up in the crock pot, I don't want it to heat up any more than it has to. Okay. Got that on. And this cereal is really, really good. And you can kind of add in what you like. If you have, I have some dried strawberries and dried blueberries that I like to add in. You can do that. You can add in pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. Now, I added in sunflower seeds one time, but I don't have any today. But you can always go back and add those kind of things later. As you make the bowl of cereal, you can just dump some in. But some sunflower seeds are really, really good in the cereal. But it's kind of up to you, whatever you like. You may decide you don't want the peanut butter, just leave the peanut butter out. You may decide you don't want the peanuts, then leave the peanuts out. It's kind of totally up to your taste and what you like. I'm going to go ahead and pour the honey in because this is soft enough. Let me go ahead and turn that off real quick. Okay, and this is a local raw honey that I get from a beekeeper about 20 miles from my house. I wish I could find someone a little closer, but which is not far. But the closer the honey comes from your house, the better off you are, because as far as allergies and things, because it will help. Helps you with your allergies because the plants are native to your community. Now 20 miles away is not bad, but I mean if you can get it, you know, within 10, that's wonderful. But you definitely want local. You don't want to buy your honey from New Jersey or from the supermarket where it says it was made in New Jersey. Let this heat just a little bit. Might need to turn it back on. Okay. So, and the type of peanut butter you use is up to you. You can use smooth peanut butter. You can use one that's crunchy, extra crunchy. It really doesn't matter. I just prefer the more natural peanut butters versus the ones that are full of the chemicals and things. But the recipe works the same whether you use that or not. Okay. Alright, I think this is good enough. And I'm going to use this when I do it because I want to get all of this into that pot. Okay. So we are going to swing back. Alright, so now we're here. I'm going to go ahead and just drizzle this. Let me get you closer. Drizzle this on the top. And you know, just make sure you get out most of it. And make sure you grease your pot with whatever you choose. Like I said, I used organic avocado oil, but that's totally up to you. What you grease it with, but you do want to grease it so that, okay, I think that's it. Alright, now I'm going to use a spoon. I'm just going to mix all this together. And get it covered. And you're going to keep stirring it. So now if it doesn't get all on it to begin with, that's okay. I do try to get most of it covered. just want to reach way down in the bottom and make sure you're bringing up those oats to cover them. And you can kind of do this the same way to make granola bars, which I'll try to do a video on that soon. Alright, I think that's good enough. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on high, and I'm going to cook it for 2 hours, and I'm going to stir it about every 30 minutes. And what I do is just set the timer on the oven, on the stove, unless you just want to remember that, but usually I get busy and I forget about it. So it's on high now. I think I have everything incorporated in. Now remember, I did not add my raisins, and if you add the dried blueberries, strawberries, those kind of things, don't add those up front. You're gonna wait and add those in the end. Okay, I'm just gonna get all this off of here, get it down in the pot, and then put the lid on, and I'm going to cook it for 2 hours, stirring every 30 minutes, and then I will bring you back. Okay, I'm back. It's been 2 hours. What I did, I want to update you a little on something. I found out that in some crock pots, you'll find that crock pots are different. So you kind of have to adjust this to your crock pots, and I have about 7 under the counter. So I've never had this problem with this one, with one before. But for the first 30 minutes I stirred it, it was fine. And the second 30 minutes I stirred it, and it was starting just around the corners of the pot. It was starting to not burn, but getting a little darker than I wanted it to get. And I had to make sure that I was stirring it down there and getting right in the turn of the pot. So what I did is I after the first hour I stirred it every 20 minutes. So I did 20 minutes and I stirred, 20 minutes I stirred. And then also I noticed that I started getting condensation on the top of the lid. So when I took the lid off, I always poured it into the sink like that, so to get the liquid off. And then I started doing it kind of the lid not quite on the pot, kind of like that, so that I wouldn't have so much of that sitting on the lid and going back down. Okay, I'm going to quickly pour the granola, it's hot, into the pan, and I put some parchment paper or some wax paper, as you may call it, in the pan to so it won't stick. And I'm just going to carefully, it's hot, very hot, okay? Just gonna, and you can see there's a couple places that got a little browner than what I wanted them to get. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread this out. And I probably should have used 2 pans, but that's okay. I'm going to spread this out on the pan, and I'm going to let it cool. And I'm going to come back and stir it a couple times just to make sure that it's cooling evenly. But I'm just going to leave it on that. I might go ahead and get another pan and just put some in another pan, so that and I'm not even gonna, I'm gonna see how this works without the paper, because you kind of don't want it to be too thick. You want it to have to be thin. Okay, so I'm just gonna spread it out like this, let it cool, and then I'm going, and I may stir it one time in between, and then I'll bring you back when I'm ready to put it in the jars. Okay, I'm back. I actually went ahead and poured up one pan. You can see that I sprinkled the dehydrated strawberries on there and the blueberries. And what I do is I just sprinkle some, whatever I want, you know, a half a cup of each. It doesn't really matter. And sometimes I find when I'm eating the cereal, if I get kind of toward the bottom or something, there's not enough stuff left in it, I'll add some more. Or if I get some like sunflowers, I'll add some in my bowl. It's kind of up to you. But anyway, that's some strawberries and blueberries. I didn't have enough strawberries to do both containers, so this one just has the blueberries in it. I don't know if you can see them, but they have the blueberries in it. So I'm gonna just lift up some handfuls and dump it in till I finish filling this one up. And it doesn't matter that some had the strawberries in it and some didn't. It's not a big deal. And I had 3 jars, but I didn't want to have to go get a jar just in case, so I brought 3, but usually it's 2 jars. And I'm just gonna pour it in. Ooh, okay. Works great. So there you have it. I will throw an oxygen pack down in each one, and then I'll have to go get the lid for this one. But there you have it. I have not quite a gallon of granola. Like I said, I don't eat a lot of cereal, so this will last me a really long time. And it's really, really good and really good for you. So, thanks for watching. This is Shawn Woodell from Heavenly Soaps and Such. I will see you next time.